Today I am sharing with you summary of book, Life in 5 Senses, written by Grenchen Robbin.
So let's begin.
Key point 1. Don't let your restless mind deprive you of real life. Self-awareness is the key to a content life. We must strive to reflect our interests, values, and character each day because our happiness bridges the gap between our inner world and our reality. Self-analysis is a journey that demands time and effort. It includes daily spiritual practices and psychological tasks. On the way to ourselves, we form answers to fundamental questions about the human soul and challenge our complexes. However, despite our best efforts, we may occasionally find ourselves trapped in our minds. And to break free, we must reconnect contact with our 5 senses: sight, hearing, smell, taste, touch. Our senses enable us to interact with the external world. Being mindful of them helps us escape the labyrinth of our tangled thoughts and embrace the present moment within our physical bodies. Unfortunately, we often realize the genuine value of our bodies only after we temporarily lose one of these senses. The body is not only a physical shell for the soul, it is the primary receptor through which we perceive life. In our desire to pursue our real life, there's a significant risk of missing out on what's happening to us today, right now. For example, when we see something beautiful, we often rush to capture it on our phones instead of enjoying it and living the moment to the fullest. So, if you spend more time in your thoughts than in reality, this summary is perfect for you. Stay tuned, and you'll learn ways to actively participate in life rather than letting it pass you by. Key point 2. You can't reproduce the moments you've missed. Being attentive to our senses allows us to understand ourselves and others better. We perceive the world uniquely. We can see the same shade of green differently and smell aromas with diverse intensities. Our world is not equal to that of others, so an environment that is comfortable for us may be unbearable for our neighbors. This awareness fosters tolerance and respect for the preferences and tastes of others. The more we understand ourselves, the kinder we'll treat other people. Taking the time to notice the beauty and excitement around us is a surefire way to make the world more comfortable for everyone. Of the 5 senses, sight and hearing play the most vital roles. They orient and inform us about what is happening in the distance. In contrast, the other 3 senses work at a closer range. Smell requires being close to the source, and taste and touch rely on direct contact. What we see is shaped by the focus of our attention, often causing us to overlook what is happening right in front of us. We forget many details in a familiar, safe environment. For example, a 3-day trip can feel more eventful than 10 days at home. In our usual routine, we often operate on autopilot and even perform tasks without noticing. On the contrary, when faced with new circumstances in an unfamiliar environment, our sensations and emotions intensify. To live every day to the fullest, without waiting for special occasions, we must relearn looking around. We can find value in ordinary moments if we try to notice new details in our routine. Even the most tedious and identical days have something special for a sensitive observer. For example, our perception of the view on our daily routine to our work can vary depending on factors such as the weather, our mood, and the lighting. When we shift our attention to discovering the small and delightful wonders around us, we avoid overlooking them and instead develop a greater appreciation for the distinctness of each moment. Simple things are full of surprises. We only have to adjust our focus to see them. What you see is unique to your perception and will never be replicated. So embrace each moment. Key point 3. Silence is a soothing balm for intense sensations. Appreciating moments involves valuing the time allotted to us with our friends and family. As much as we hate to admit it, our time together is finite. People change externally and internally every day, and our loved ones will never be as young as they are now. There will come a day when some of these people will be available to us only in our memories. Therefore, we must spend our time thoughtfully. Even if we see our family on a daily basis, we may not observe and pay attention to them, as simply being in the same space as someone doesn't guarantee that we truly notice them. It is essential to approach our loved ones with genuine care and interest to ensure that the focus remains on them, not on the background noise. Quality time together involves genuinely listening and looking at one another. Unconsciously, people crave interaction, prompting our senses to seek out human faces or voices. We tend to see them even where they don't exist, to find eyes and mouths in wallpaper patterns, or to hear words in a cat's meow. Faces, much like voices, convey a wealth of information about their owners and surroundings. In close relationships, we can accurately identify the sounds characteristic of our loved ones. Even without sight, we can determine who has entered the room by the sound of footsteps or the manner of knocking on the door. Although this can be endearing, sometimes it can also be irritating, often resulting from overstimulation. Nowadays, noise pollution has reached alarming levels, posing significant mental and physical health risks. Regulating the number of sounds in our personal space means taking responsibility for our well-being. Here are some practical ways to achieve this in our daily lives. Turning off notifications on our gadgets. Excluding the operation of the TV or player in the background. Avoiding shops and restaurants that play loud music in the halls. Silence can be a precious experience. You can forego conversations and spend a few days in seclusion without speaking or listening to podcasts and songs. You will discover a calming and refreshing silence you may have long forgotten. It allows you to hear the course of your thoughts, restore the pleasure of listening to the people near and dear to your heart, and learn to listen to them more thoughtfully. Key point 4. Use scents to regulate your emotions. We used to underestimate the importance of smell before the COVID-19 pandemic. However, as the virus affects our senses of smell and taste, we've realized that smell has a significant psychological aspect. Loss of smell makes you feel isolated. Paradoxically, we can yearn for the people we love, even when they're around, if we don't smell them. Some patients infected with the virus experienced feelings of claustrophobia because the absence of smell made the surrounding space seem airless to them. For many people, nutrition became a problem. They either overate because they could not get satisfaction from food without flavor, or, on the other hand, they stopped eating altogether. Interestingly, we feel the aroma of food not only through the receptors in the nose, but also in the mouth. Accordingly, the sense of smell dramatically complements the taste sensations and allows us to enjoy food fully. The surest way to become happier is to add more of what brings joy to our lives and remove more of what makes us sad. We can use this in the context of all our senses, including the sense of smell. Smells can soothe, invigorate, and give a feeling of security and home. We should not be passive consumers of our sensory experience, but regulate it in our favor. Most often, it only takes a couple of small steps to do this. Replace detergents. Remove bad odor sources. Put a bouquet in the living room or light a candle. The sense of smell has an extraordinary power to stimulate recollections. It's probably because smells overtake us suddenly, providing an intense immersion in a mental image. You can use this to regulate your emotional state. For example, you're likely to associate the scent of the linden tea your grandmother brewed for you as a child with carelessness and security. This fragrance will help you get through a stressful day and relax after. In addition, the sense of smell relates to the feeling of love. A partner's body odor can also form a deep attachment in the mind. This intimate fragrance can cause a strong surge of emotions even at the wrong moment. Did you know? On the Andaman Islands, residents use a calendar that reflects certain plants' flowering periods because they give particular importance to fragrances. Instead of a greeting, locals ask each other, "How is your nose?" Key point 5. Food quenches far more needs than just hunger. The sense of taste reflects our culture, national characteristics, and family traditions, shaping our identity through how, when, with whom, and what we eat. Taste connects us to our family's history and values, as every culture has its own distinctions of acceptable and forbidden foods. We may not eat everything available. For example, we do not eat the meat of certain animals because our ancestors considered it wrong. Eating food together has always been an essential part of community bonding. The ancient custom of sharing food as a diplomatic way to strengthen relationships is still relevant today. By offering food to our guests, we are expressing a warm welcome to them in our home. Also, a meal is more often of an excuse to spend time with family and friends than to satisfy hunger. Food occupies a crucial niche in our emotional state. Our fondness for certain dishes can stem from our love for our family, as we often enjoy meals prepared using our parents' recipes. In addition, we may have a personal list of comfort foods that provide a sense of safety and relaxation. Don't underestimate the ritual of preparing and eating food, as this process engages and satisfies all 5 senses. That's why traditions are so important, whether it's a weekend dinner or the annual Christmas pie. You form special bonds, trust, and intimacy by sharing, cooking, and eating with your loved ones. We better understand our likes and dislikes by talking to others about their preferences and offering them the chance to taste certain products. Thus, we learn to accept and respect the uniqueness of our nature. The more I shaped my sensory world to reflect my individual tastes, the more enjoyable that world would be. Gretchen Robbin. Reflecting on favorite flavors and frequently consumed meals from the past can be a profound personal exercise. These tastes can mentally transport you to different periods of your life and remind you of forgotten preferences. This exercise helps you reconnect with yourself and your life path. In addition, sharing these experiences with siblings or childhood friends can create a sense of shared nostalgia, fostering happiness and alleviating feelings of loneliness. Although many people vaguely remember details from their childhood, you'll find that paying close attention inward helps unlock more memories. Perhaps you've never thought about them, but now they will become insights for you. Key point 6. Hugs are free antidepressants we prescribe to our loved ones. Life begins with touch. Doctors place newborns on their mothers' chests, creating skin-to-skin contact. It makes babies grow well, sleep better, and get sick less. When we hold, rock, and hug toddlers, we promise them that we will look after their well-being. Before children learn to perceive and express information verbally, the sense of touch gives them a feeling of security and safety. In contrast, insufficient physical contact leads to developmental delays in babies. This situation sometimes happens in orphanages if caregivers rarely interact with children tactily. Due to this, babies acquire psychological and behavioral problems. Even as adults, we have a fundamental need for touch. Hugs or strokes can reduce pain, calm the heartbeat, and improve blood pressure. Regular physical contact with loved ones helps us significantly reduce stress levels and enhance sleep quality. When appropriate, touch triggers the production of happiness hormones, natural pain relievers. Tactical interaction with family members, such as a pat on the head or a hug, can significantly improve our well-being in minutes. It serves as a nonverbal means of communication, conveying messages of trust, empathy, and gratitude. Next time you find yourself in a heated conversation with your partner, try holding hands to alleviate tension and prevent conflicts from escalating. Sometimes words only diminish what we want to convey. Grenchen Robbin. You can use your sense of touch to comfort yourself, even if your loved ones are not around. To fill the need for tactile sensations when you are alone, consider the following. Interact with pets, stroking and caressing them. Wear comfortable fabrics such as cashmere, velvet, and silk. Sleep under a heavy blanket that mimics the soothing effect of a hug. Get a massage. Hardly anything can replace the comfort and warmth of human hands, so opt for a manual massage rather than a mechanized one. Hug pillows or plush toys. However, remember that physical contact should be appropriate and consensual. Mishandling touch can cause significant damage to a person's mental state. Realizing the genuine power of touch, you must handle it thoughtfully. Ensure you ask for permission before entering others' personal space to avoid harming them. Attentiveness to your senses should remind you of the responsibility of caring for other people's feelings. Conclusion. The body and soul are inseparable, and bodily sensations nourish and comfort the spirit. Actively caring for our 5 senses is the most affordable and essential way to maintain our well-being and regulate our mental health. Connection with the body stress, reduce anxiety and panic, and return from thought to reality.